Could I just quote Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who said, "I believe all or most EU countries will move their embassies to Jerusalem, recognising Jerusalem as Israel's capital." What do you think of that?
Yesterday we had a debate with the High Representative Mogherini, and she emphasized that all 28 member states were on one line not to settle their embassies in Jerusalem. But it should also be said that the unified positions you spoke about, there are several member states that have other views about the relationship with Israel. And for example, the Czech Republic is thinking about also moving to Jerusalem. So we will see.
Are there serious divisions then, and growing divisions over how to deal with this situation in terms of Israel and Jerusalem in the European Union? Are these going to get more and more problematic for the EU unity?
I think that, of course, the High Representative Mogherini tries to have one solid, unified position. But it's well known that especially in the eastern part and the central part of Europe, there are governments that have other views about their relationship with Israel. For example, on labeling, and also on why there is still not an association council for already years. So the issue is when the European Union, when the High Representative Mrs. Mogherini and her staff, the European External Action Service, should want to play a role, a significant role, they should be more balanced in their approach. And that is the issue. For example, lately there was an interesting booklet on BDS, and two very balanced Israeli researchers, and one was a former diplomat, even the Israeli ambassador to Germany, Shimon Stein, and they remarked that always, and the High Representative has it always in her mouth, two-state solution, but two states means for two nations. And what she assured, and also her predecessor, Baroness Ashton, I asked it personally as a vice chair of the Israel delegation, why are you not speaking about the Jewish state of Israel? And that is the issue. You can't have, and that is the fundamental mistake. And of the European leaders, they should ask the Palestinian leadership that they should quite clearly recognize the Jewish character of the state of Israel, and that is not done. So, and you see it in the school books, for example. There are new school books, and how the Palestinian youth is educated, and that is not in. Israel is not even mentioned.
Do you think it was a mistake for President Trump, and does indeed your delegation think it was a mistake to recognise Jerusalem?
Not at all. No. I'm a Christian, so you can imagine that I'm very in favour of to name the things by the name. There is a strong historical biblical connection between the land of Israel and Jerusalem with the Jewish history. You can't, and that is the issue also. That's the issue. Mrs. Mogherini and all these European leaders should make it clear that all this denying, up till this day, denying of the Jewish past there for 1,000 years, and all this denying in every sense of Israeli Jewish presence there, that should be tackled. And all speeches about the two-state solution and so on is not based on reality, because you can only have a resolution of the conflict when two parties are recognizing their counterparts honestly, and that is not the case. So it is not the case. It is a farce. Hamas is quite openly is honest. She don't want a two-state solution, and Mahmoud Abbas is only playing lip service.
So is the European Union's stance towards the Israel-Palestine conflict completely flawed then? Is Mogherini's stance towards dealing and resolving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict flawed, or is it?
There's only one power in the world that has any influence on the position of Israeli leaders and politicians on the Knesset, and that's the United States. What they are saying here and coming up and seeing chances for themselves to have any part in this process is to become more balanced, and there is totally no balance here in this house and in the European Union, in the central institutions on this issue. Of course there are excellent trade relations and so on, but on the political level it is.
Do you think it's going to get bigger? Do you think the EU is going to be pushing more for the two-state solution and talks around that? Is the EU going to get a bigger role in the Middle East?
Let me say one thing. The countries involved in the region, the Arab countries, their position, Saudi Arabia for example, Egypt, Jordan, their reactions, and here the reaction in Europe, you see a gap because of a total lack of reality. The inhabitants of Eastern Jerusalem are only wanting one thing, not to have too much noise about it, for they are very fine and they only want to be they have only one wishes, to remain within the state of Israel and not on any future Palestinian state, let alone on the leadership of Mahmoud Abbas. And the Arab region has the most pressing problem of the Arab region of the Middle East, especially the Sunnis, are the Shiites under the leadership of the Islamic Republic of Iran. So Palestinian problem is not an issue, priority number one. And that's make it here. It is a total lack of reality. It is geopolitical nonsense.
Would you like then to see the EU follow President Trump in moving embassies over to Jerusalem and recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel?
Yes, but that is also misleading. You should have precisely reading what President Trump is saying about also upcoming negotiations, a real valuable peace plan. And what he is saying is he wants to move. He has not say when. That it is reality. Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. So what to do is, but the issues, the borders, and also the holy places, it's all open. He did not change any status quo. It is only bad reading of what he's saying. It is bad trust in him, and that does not help the Palestinians. For what I want to do, what I want to promote is, and I'm involved as an MEP, it is promoting normalization between Israelis and Palestinians, and again incitement from which corner it comes, and what the European Union is doing, and as they have a bad reputation in Israel, they are provoking incitement by funding NGOs and people who don't want to have a Jewish state in the Middle East, and that is the reality. They should cope with it. For it is now more than time, because who are having the burden of it? It is the normal Palestinian citizens.